sunlight shakes the barley, nothing touches you. Come on, sister, brother, don't you cry. You don't know it now. You don't know it now. We didn't know it then. But sure get by. We got by. Thank you very much. Well, that's my best song, so thank you for coming. Yeah, it was great. It went very well, didn't it? So I've been doing a handful of shows. I've done about 5 shows this year. A lot of them I've been doing purely acoustically, just in smaller, sort of like little church venues, which has been quite good fun. But tonight you'll see I have the Iron Maiden PA and light show. So expect the pyrotechnics later. And in a way, I'm not unfamiliar with this atmosphere, because normally when a room is sort of like heaving with people, you try and build it and build it and build it, and people sing, and then the whole thing there's like a crescendo. Now, with the smaller audience, more intimate, you're not going for the same sort of dynamic, and it's very much like an online show in that sense. Because when I'm online playing all these gigs I did, there's no sort of acclaim coming back at you. It's like a series of moments. It's like a series of chapters. So I look at these shows as like a series of short stories. So I don't want you to go mad at any point, all right? Or to rush the stage, okay? So just stay where you are, maintain control, and I'll just I will not be doing any stage diving. Never mind. But well, it's early days. You know, you might want to change your mind later on. Here's a song called Track of Words for you. I don't know what you think about people who moan all the time. Ralph McTell's very wise. When we toured with him, he said, I don't mind complaints, I hate moans. And I think, yeah, that's not a bad sort of way of looking at things, really. But this is all about the way people can use language that sort of makes you back away from them, you know. Oh, I must, I want, I need, you know. You can't fulfill those expectations. So they're surrounded by people going backwards. And so I wrote this song for a situation where someone in the family was struggling with a situation. And I thought I'd lay out some words for them to walk down. And I didn't realise it, but someone after about a year came up and said, you don't often hear folk songs about neuro-linguistic programming. I thought, yeah, I'll take that on board. You won't hear Fisherman's Friends singing that bastard. I'll lay a track of words before you, so let them be your guide to lead you to the right turnings when you've lost the way inside. 'Cause I know how you tried. But you can choose a word like shelter. Here's another word like rest. I'll place words like safe haven on the paths you know the best, and these words will caress. So let them be your guide to lead you turnings, and you've lost the way inside. I know how you try. I lay a track of words before you, then every thought that ever stirred deep in your heart on a quiet hillside, and every breeze you've ever heard becomes one silent track of you can choose a word like shelter, friends and family. I'll lay a track of before you. Thank you. Right. So that's what have we got? Like a song of welcome, and then something deep and meaningful. Now I'm going to play a bit of froth for you. Really, this is sort of the way I'll construct the set. Something just sort of doesn't need too much attention. This is rhythm driven. I decided to invent a new genre about 2 years ago called Cornish reggae. It hasn't really caught on, it has to be said. But it's a song called Dreckley, which it does almost sound like Jamaican patois, doesn't it? Yeah, man, Dreckley, man. And but Dreckley is Cornish for like manana, really. And I thought I'd construct a song like reverse engineering, start off with the rhythm, then the chorus directly. Then I needed words and verses to sort of make sense of that. And so what I came up with is a young guy who's got a Cornish girlfriend, and he's living in Swindon. And he's finding it hard to persuade her to stay in Swindon for some reason and not to return to the duchy. So one day he sort of looks around and she's gone. She's just left, and he's determined to cross the Tamar and track her down, and insists that she returns to Wiltshire. You can imagine he has a task on his hands, and so the great thing about reggae, it's not a very common rhythm to find on acoustic instruments because it relies on the no pasty, no cry. It relies on that beat, right? No pilchard, no cry. So it's quite hard. Actually, got quite a nice bass drum. This is obviously a dance floor. It's a sprung floor, I think. It's got a good sort of like offbeat. So as long as I keep on the... Now, in a show of hands gig, I insist on people singing. Now, that's a bit of an odd dynamic currently. Phil and I did a couple of gigs in Germany last year. The only two we did last autumn where anybody who sung was going to be fined 2,000 euros. And that was the rule. So I'm not sure. Maybe you can... Yeah. No, we're not Germany. You're quite right. But well, if you want to sing, I'll invite you to. I don't know if you're no. Some of you know you're demasked. Okay, so maybe I should have done the gig in a mask. That would have been good, wouldn't it? If the tour goes ahead successfully this autumn, we are thinking of inviting the Association of British Beekeepers to turn up fully kitted out. The Deep Sea Diving Association could come in numbers. That would keep everybody happy. Or maybe the Association of Fencing, whatever. Just anybody to turn up fully kitted out to be safe. Or the Elephant Man Appreciation Society, whatever. Those sort of, who knows? I'm in the bedroom, your bags are in the hall, your car is waiting in the street. So why don't you tell me where you're gonna stay? I did 2 beats then, that threw me out. Way past midnight, still you don't call. I don't know if it's sour or sweet, but I'm not gonna pace the floor till the break of day. No smoke without fire, no light without heat, no trip without a wire, no heart without a beat. When you're not by my side, I'm not complete. So come back directly. You drew a little circle around a seaside town on a map I found under the bed. Your best friend said you've headed somewhere west. But if that's where you are, I'm gonna track you down. Maybe I've been misled. I gotta get this green-eyed monster off my chest. No smoke without fire, no light without heat, no trip without a wire, no heart without a beat. When you're not by my side, I'm not complete. So come back directly. I'll come back directly, come back soon. I'm outside howling at the Tamar moon, and I don't want to sing another hound dog tune. Listen, left foot bass drum is great. Listen to the right one. Different, isn't it? I'll go for this one. Yeah, you go. Come on. Outside a little bar in Old Land's End, my misery was complete. And I knew right there our Wiltshire life was cursed. Between cold dark pasties and fishermen's friends, how can a man compete? Then you looked me in the arm and said, darling, I prefer jam first. What? No smoke without fire, no light without heat, no trip without a wire, no heart without a beat. When you're not by my side, I'm not complete. So come back directly. When you're not by my side, I'm not complete. So come back directly. Come on, darling. Hey. Thank you. Yeah, nice and deep, different. Stay on that side. You're probably looking at me thinking how fit and well I look. Well, it's because on February the 1st this year, I started going swimming in the sea in Exmouth. It was bastard cold, it was, bastard cold. And in the first 2 months with a wetsuit, but now I was there this morning. There's a little place called Mare Rocks, and the rocks trap the outgoing tide just on Exmouth seafront. And there are 4 buoys that are supposed to mark the route for the lifeboat station, which was built at a cost of about £8 million. But the lifeboat station is too far from the water, and they can't launch the lifeboat. So the buoys are still there to show where the lifeboat ought to go. And then about 500 kilometers out, there is the green buoy that marks the deep water channel. So the challenge is to try and get out to that green buoy every day. And if the tide's a bit fierce, it's a bit hard. But most of the days we manage to get there and to swim back. Takes about 35 minutes. So that is my daily routine. And it has nothing to do with the health benefits, but everything to do with the great feeling of smugness it gives you and the need to tell everybody. That'd be Phil. Sorry, no, Phil, he's always asking where I am. Tell him I'm working. Is he? He's having a bath. Good. That's not a problem at all. No, it was perfectly timed. It was in between the songs, and I made a joke of it, so everybody's fine. So anyway, the point of this rambling anecdote is, as I say, I go out swimming every day, and the guy I go with is a local fisherman. He also sells fish, and this song is about something that happened to him and his dad about 25 years ago. Just beyond where we go swimming to, the point that we turned back, towards Dawlish, he was diving for scallops. And his dad was in the boat above, and this was in November, about 4:30, getting on for darkness. And when Dave surfaced, he was about 19 or 20 at the time, with about 3 dozen scallops in 3 bags or so. His dad's boat wasn't there. So he looked around, and his dad's boat had drifted with the marker buoy that showed his position. So when his dad realized that he wasn't where his son was surfacing, he was in the darkness about 3 miles away. So this is the story of that day. And originally it was just going to be like a folk song about working men, struggling to make a living. But then it became to be about being there for people when they surface from a dark place. And the first time I played this to his dad, Dave, and his mum was in Topsham about 15 years ago. And I played the song. And when I finished, I could hear her say, "That never happened, did it, David?" So first she knew about it was when she heard the song about what nearly befell them that day. This is called The Dive. One November's noon, we left the docks, heading southwest of Orkham Rocks. My dad and me, our 9 to 5. He used to steer, and I used to dive. Over the side, I slowly went down, 100 below, to where the sea water's brown. And after an hour, I got low on air. When I surfaced again, his boat wasn't there. My marker boy must have come on time and drifted away. His boat at its side. He looked at his watch, 3 miles to the south. He turned back again, his heart in his mouth. Soft rain on my face, the sun almost set. I cut loose the weights, I let fall my nets. The lights on the shore were shining bright and clear. was drifting in. There was nobody near. Nobody near. Was there ever a real, a rod or a line, so strong and true, so straight or so fine, as the tie that wound him through time and space? He came out the darkness right to that place. Now we don't talk much about those days. Got two kids of my own now, one on the way. Live there to grow, live there to thrive. One day they'll grow, one day they'll die. When they come up for light and for air, I hope someone's close, I hope someone's there. It's November noon, and we're leaving the docks. My son and me, we're just off Auckland Rocks. Let's dive. Let's dive. Let's break free and let go to grow. Let's dive. Thank you very much. So I must have maybe presented about 50 online shows when the lockdown happened. It was Monday, March the 16th was the last gig I played. I was halfway through a tour, and I thought, gosh, this is I'm not particularly good at putting away tax money. I tend to do it retrospectively. And so that tour was to pay the previous tax. And of course, it just didn't happen. So I thought, gosh, what can I do? So I did some online shows. The first thing I did was I streamed the show that I was playing, which is a Songs and Stories show. Very much like tonight. A lot of tonight's show is part of it. And people were very generous. In those first 3 months, you'd put a little PayPal link and people, it's like you're busking online and people chucked money in the pot. Compassion fatigue began to set in when every musician in the world started doing the same thing. But first of all, people were very generous. And then I thought, okay, but that's my show. It's not like I can do it another 20 nights. So I thought I need to find some themes here. So I did a Dylan night, I did a Springsteen night, I did a traditional folk song night, I did a covers night, I did a countryside Americana night. I tried to find as many themes as to engage people as I possibly could. And then one or two venues who knew that they weren't going to be opening and said, well, look, we have a mailing list. Can we sell like a link to the show? So then you go to like a private link on YouTube. Everybody gets the same link, but you send it out. And then people were tuning in. And so one night I sat down. It was Nettlebed Folk Club. I sat down in front of my iPhone. I've got a nice little condenser, little mic that goes in it. The sound's good. I've got a couple of LED lights. There I am surrounded with guitars. And then you go live and you start singing and chatting away and trying to be sort of uppy and sort of, then Claire would walk in. So you said you should open why didn't you open the dishwasher? Why didn't you empty the dishwasher? Towels everywhere. I go, shh, go away. And then the dogs would start barking. But apart from that, and then I couldn't help but noticing I wasn't really getting any little emojis. People say, yeah, sounds good, Steve. They can put little comments along and little tiny symbols. I wasn't getting anything. So I carried on through the first set. Then I realized I'd picked the wrong day. I was streaming to nobody. I was streaming. It's like the old leaf in the jungle falling. Did it exist or not? It was a very, interesting concept. But anyway, I managed to get the right night eventually. And then Phil started doing these online shows, and he said, "Look, I quite like the way you do it." And I said, "Well, I'll come around and show you how to set up your phone." And you can set up your phone, and then you can watch yourself on your laptop. So there's about a 2-second lag, but you can see it's coming through. So everything went well that afternoon. We plugged it all in. He did a little test run, and I thought I would tune in to see how he was getting on. And I tuned in on my smart TV, and all I could see was a phone turned on its side with all these apps and a little tiny bubble Phil in the middle of it. And he'd pressed this vision within vision feature. So he was there like this, but he was tiny. And people were saying, "Phil, you're too small, you're too small." And then he didn't know how to get out of it. So you can see him then moving himself around the screen like this, like a little bubble on a string. It was quite cute, really. But that was it. He did that all night long. So that wasn't the most successful night. And I did a terrible quiz. Oh, I still think about that with horror. I'd no idea how much preparation you have to do for a quiz. And it's no good asking, you've got to give like, how much would the Galway farmer have won? Tick, tick, tick. But I was doing things like, how much would the Galway farmer have won divided by the number of people that set off in the boat to so-and-so? And then the next question. And I didn't really get much response to the quiz. That didn't go very well. So I proceeded to get drunker and drunker, then fell off my chair. So that really was my musical career over the last year until the festivals began. But it did give me the chance to learn a couple more songs. And this one is connected to the last one. I've always loved this song, but I've never played it live. It's only when you slow it down you realise the poetry that Mike Scott has put into it. I wish I was a fisherman tumbling on the sea, far away from dry land and its bitter memories, casting out my sweet line with abandonment and love. No ceiling up above my head, but the starry sky above, with light in my head and you in my arms. Light in my head, you in my arms. And I wish I was the brakeman on a tumbling fevered train, crashing into the heartlands like a cannon in the rain, in the shaking of the sleepers and the roaring of the cold, watching the towns flash by in a night full of soul, light in my head and you in my arms. Light in my head, you in my arms. And I know I will be loosened from the bonds that hold me fast, and all the chains that bind me fall away at last. On that grand and fateful day, I will take you by the hand. I ride for that Light in my head, you in my arms. I wish I was a fisherman, tumbling on the sea, far away from dry land and its bitter memories. Light in my head, you in my arms. Last time. Light in my head, you in my arms. Wish I was a fisherman. Thank you. So I've known that song by the Waterboys since about 1986, but I didn't realize the poetry in it until I heard a slowed down version by an American band, and yeah, lovely lyrics. I enjoy singing that connected to the dive. So that's like my maritime moment. Kieran, I'm going to play that one on the quattro now with a little echo. If you would set it up for me, thank you. Talking about slowing some songs down. This is a song that we released as a single about 2003. It didn't get in the charts, but it got on Farming Today at least 3 times, which is interesting. Is it both sides or just the one? Got a little echo that sort of picks up the beat. And as long as you play along with it, everything's fine. But if you, it will repeat your mistakes on you. So the original version of Country Life was very sort of chunky and rhythmic, but this is sort of like a bit more reflective. So working in the rain, cutting up wood, didn't do my little brother much good. He lost 2 fingers in a chainsaw bite. All he does now is drink and fight. He sells a bit of grass and he hots up cars. Talks of travel, never gets far. Loves his kids but left his wife. And every story of country life. And the red brick cottage where I was born is the empty shell of a holiday home. Most of the year there's no one there. The village is dead and they don't care. So now we live on the edge of town. Haven't been back since the pub closed down. One man's family pays the price for another man's vision of country life. Well, my old man is 84. His generation won the war, but he left the farm forever when they only kept on but 1 in 10. Landed gentry county slums. Where were you when they lost their jobs? No one marched or subsidized to save a country way of life. Silent fields, empty lanes, drifting smoke from distant flames. Picture postcard hills on fire, cattle burning in funeral pyres. Out to graze, they look so sweet. but we want the meat. So buy me a beer and I'll take my knife, cut you a slice of country life. Country life. But if you want cheap food, then here's the deal. Family farms, they are brought to heel by a hammer blow of size and scale. Was foot and mouth just a final nail in the coffin of this English dream? It lies out there on the village green, where agri barons, cap in hand, stripped a green and a pleasant land of meadow, woodland, hedgerow, pond, and water remains. They build a pond. They build a pond. So I'm singing. Working in the rain, cutting up wood. Well, it didn't do my little brother much good. Country life. Thank you very much. I'd like to play you one more, then we'll have a break. You are obviously feel free to wander to the bar. A couple of people were, so feel during the songs. And if they've got an amber ale, I'll certainly have that and a pint. No, anyway, moving on. So, okay, here's the other economic reality one is now facing. CD sales. They're not quite what they were. And Phil and I realized this about 4 or 5 years ago when we finally decided to invest in proper vehicles, these little Vitos, lovely Mercedes Vito people carriers. And I proudly drove out of the garage and pulled over to the side of the road to play my new CD, to find they didn't have a CD player. So at a stroke, a single engineering decision by Mercedes wiped out overnight any marketing strategy you might have adopted. Cars just don't have CD players anymore. So the sales of that used to be maybe 25% of your turnover is now gone down and down and down. So we are left with all these CDs. So my current strategy is like the jumble sale strategy. I just pile them all over there, whatever I've got. Just grab one and put a tenner in a box. That's the way I look at it. There's a couple of songbooks over there as well. There's a Faith, Folk and Anarchy, I think a Richard Shindell song album. I've got two of my I've got Village Hall and Live in Somerset. So if you fancy it, just grab something and, and I'm not going to stand there and hover over it. It's like the charity shop. So show of hands now is we used to have a whole merchandising operation. Now it's just basically it's a charity shop. So go and grab something and I'll see you after the break. I'll play you a song called Swift and Bold, which is the, believe it or not, the motto of the Rifles, Cella et Audex. My stepbrother was in the Green Jackets. My grandfather was in the Devonshire and the Dorset Regiment. And they've all amalgamated, I think, with the possibly the Gloucesters as well, and the Dorset Regiment to form the Rifles. And they are one of the regiments is stationed about 2 miles from where I live. And I wrote a song for a big open day they had. And the commanding officer was so pleased with the song, he presented me with my own beret and made me an honorary rifleman. So I'm actually honorary rifleman 001 nightly. I can sign letters swift and bold if I wish, and I get invited to the most spectacular piss-ups at the Dorchester Barracks I've ever been to, as long as I sing this song at least 3 times. So in order to write this song for the big open day they had, I had to do a bit of research, and so I realised all these regiments have got their own history. So I've got a bit of Waterloo. I mentioned Sir John Moore, who was like the father of the British Army in many ways. He designed the barracks where this open day was happening. I've got a bit of Helmand. I've got a bit of all the hills and all. I've got a bit of Sharp's rifles in there. I've got a bit of the Devonshires at Mamet's Copse. The Devonshires held this trench and they hold it still. It's a very poignant inscription in the First World War. And it sort of mentions the open day. So I'm not suggesting that you march around the room, but this is quite a sort of like stirring militarist. It brings out your inner imperialist. And I was very proud that the whole band of the Rifles learnt this song. So as Phil and I and Miranda started playing the song on this big dais they set out, the whole band of the Rifles came marching from the house. It was all very stirring stuff. So anyway, I'll see you after the break. I shall go and sit in my lonely dressing room. And then I'll see you afterwards for some more stories and songs. Okay. 100 years beyond the red brick wall, Cheddar Town, swift and bold. Drink to the health of old John Moore, Cheddar Town, swift and bold. From Waterloo to the Panther's Claw, Cheddar Town, swift and bold. Drums will rattle and bugles call, Cheddar Town, swift and bold. Swift and bold, swift and bold. If the heart is steady, the line will hold. When history's written, tales are told, Cheddar Town, swift and bold. Have you spotted the bit I want you to sing yet? The kings of Basra wore their crowns on Almond's barren and broken ground. O'er the hills and o'er the main, Cheddar Town, swift and bold. Flanders, Portugal and Spain, Cheddar Town, swift and bold. Swift and bold, swift and bold. If the heart is steady, the line will hold. When history's written, tales are told, Cheddar Town, swift and bold. That's from Devonshire's rolling hills. They hold this trench and they hold it still. Down that swift and bold. 100 years behind the red brick wall. Cheddar Town, that swift and bold. Let's drink to the health of old John Moore. Cheddar Town, that swift and bold. Swift and bold, swift and bold. The heart is steady and the line will hold. When history's written, tales are told. Cheddar Town, swift and bold. Swift and bold, swift and bold. If the heart is steady, the line will hold. History's written, tales are told. Cheddar Town, swift and bold. History's written and tales are told. Cheddar Town, swift and bold. Thank you. I'll see you in about a quarter of an hour. Thank you very much.
Only when we sing with one voice will this song be heard by those who need to hear. Only when we stand together can we make it loud and make it clear. We, my friends, we're everything we need to be to set us free. Only when we share one vision will the world be ours for the taking. Unified, we own the future. It's history in the making. When we're on our own in this battlefield, it wears us down. But now, one voice is the legion. One voice is the legion. Only when we hear each other will the truth be known within our heart. Only when we join our forces will the sun be greater than its past. 'Cause your company and this melody, it's enough for me to see. One voice is the legion. One voice is a legion. One voice is a legion. Only when we sing with one voice. 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 There's a man with fire in his eyes, a rare sight seldom seen. Always wandering feet keep on moving away from mediocrity. And he said, I never stay long in the same old places. They're always getting me down. But for a while now I might just chance it. He liked to keep me around. He likes to visit in the dead of night. He likes to meet for the sun. And lightning struck to his motorbike. Just one more kiss and then he's gone. And he said, I never stay long, but I would like it if I saw more of your face. But I won't hold him to his airs and graces. I know his people find a way. It's a long way to go when you travel alone. But the long winding road is solid gold, solid gold. He talks about when he'll settle down. Maybe a house in a small Welsh town, but with 40 years in his furrowed brow, I see no sign of any roots. And he said, I'd like to stay longer, but I can't help it. I think I'll wandering instead. And I felt better when the past behind me. The horizon. It's a long way to go when you travel alone. But the long winding road is solid gold. Solid gold. Solid, solid, solid gold. Solid gold. It's a long way to go when you travel alone. But the long winding road is solid gold. Solid gold. Solid gold. Solid gold. Summertime is coming, the winter slowly rolls away. Mama's chasing cobwebs and sending us out to play. Papa's got us worried, he didn't go to church today. We could touch him, but he was a million miles away. But all the windows, close the doors. That train don't stop here anymore. Turn up the TV, go to bed. Those days of innocence are dead. So bring back those good old days. We were superheroes with only time for fun and games. How were we to know that everything was about to change? Brother went to college, sister married in her teens. Then it seemed to me that everything fell apart at the seams. But all the windows closed the doors. That train don't stop here anymore. Turn off the TV, go to bed. Those days of innocence are dead. So bring back those good old days. Bring back those good old days. It's funny how we run in circles. We're always chasing our own tails. Though we try to do things different, we inevitably fail. Letting go of our illusions means we lose part of ourselves. Now I'm losing you as well. Now I'm losing you as well. Summertime is coming. The winter slowly rolls away. Mama's chasing cobwebs and sending us out to play. But all the windows close the doors. That train don't stop here anymore. Turn off the TV, go to bed. Those days of innocence are dead. So bring back those good old days. 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 Bird song through my open window, crayon chasing paper rainbows. Watch the shadows climb the wall, mark the passage of the day. Strange days, full of contradictions. Play safe, playground derelictions. Faces hide behind the glass. Strangers pass the time of day. And although I count the ticket on the clock to hear your knuckles knocking at my door, I'll give anything to stop things from returning to the way they were before. 'Cause as the distance brings us closer, we learn to look out for each other, so that when all this is over, we won't have to be alone. 'Cause then the distance brings you home. Home. skies, no trace of imperfection. Road signs, no one there to heed them. Bees returning to the bud as nature takes back what it sowed. And although I count the hours of the day to see your face appearing at my door, I'll endeavor to be grateful for those little things that I used to ignore. 'Cause as the distance brings us closer, we're looking out for one another, so that when all this is over, we won't have to be alone. And as the distance brings us closer, feel my hand upon your shoulder. Know that when all this is over, you won't have to be alone. So let the distance bring you home. Let the distance bring you home. Let the distance bring you home. Your winning days feel a lifetime gone, and all the little things that keep you strong seem to fade away. A tale as old as time tells how quickly life can change. Fate will always mock the things you arrange. Oh, don't look back. Don't look back. This memory rain, forging lines down your face. When your smile has been misplaced without a trace. Don't look back. Don't look back. When you're standing on the water's edge, you're not sure you remember how to swim. I'll be right there, so take my hand and we'll dive right in. Your winning days were just a practice run. Your life has only just begun. Don't look back. Don't look back. Don't look back. Wind-dip white noise around the silence. It seeps into my every pore. The legions built behind my eyelids. Invaders gathered on the shore. They hold me captive in my fortress. I am a prisoner of war, stripped of all of my defenses. My voice is drowned out by the roar. But if I leave the words unwritten, they'll leave chains around my heart. They'll weigh me down, unbidden, hidden deep in every part of me. And the measure of my being will be lost beyond recall.
Went out into Trowbridge, 2 clubs. There was a fight, had a curry, it's brilliant. Casino, went there, won a load of money, lost a load of money. Brought a car, sold a car. Ended up in a house of ill repute. All in the last 15 minutes. It was fantastic. For all of you that have a love of old places and old buildings, this is about the Royal Albert Memorial Museum in Exeter, but it could apply to almost every ancient place that you know and love. I've been going in this museum about 6 years old, and this song is 3 generations of me. Just a boy, I wandered through these doors. I found mystery and wonder on each floor. As I saw the prey around her court, these memories won't be bought. But on days like this, I am that child once more, where the present and the past make connection. Time and space turn in my direction, till I am 5 years old again. I've come to shelter from the rain, in a home to a million thoughts and 1,000 reflections. Two young lovers drifting from the streets. There's not many secret places they can meet. And somehow the eyes behind the glass watch